All right, how you doing, guys? I want to welcome you guys to our first ever podcast called Co-Parenting, Doing It the Right Way. Excuse the phone for ringing in the background. We are the sole proprietors of Co-Parenting, Doing It the Right Way. We just want to come on and start, talking about these issues that we faced over the years of co-parenting and how we had to coexist and try to work together to be great parents to our son and the obstacles that we faced and that other parents are facing, I'm sure, being separate, raising a child in separate homes and trying to help raise this child together, whether that's, started off as a two-parent home or was always a parent on one side, a parent on the other side. So we just want to kind of dive into this, this topic that we really don't touch on, especially in like our community as far as once you separate from someone, you got to almost like hate them. It's like, it's over. I hate you. I wish you nothing but the worst in life. And what we decided to do was something totally different. We started working together and...
Don't turn your phone down.
Is it still echoing? All right, excuse me. We started working together, and you got to forgive us. This is our first podcast, so it's going to be some stuff a little bit all over the place, but we're going to work this thing out and make this a real popular podcast, we hope. So it's Co-Parenting Doing it the Right Way. I'm Chris. This is Chanelle. She's my co-host, and we're going to be really talking about this topic of how to co-parent and how we felt the way we doing it is the right way. Some might think it's not the right way, but of course, we're also business partners. So we're going to dive into that as well. We are co-owners of Sea Sensational Smoothies, as well as the Big Fish that'll be opening real soon. A lot of people come in the store, and whenever they hear me say, I'm doing business with my ex-wife, it's like, what? Your ex-wife? How you doing business with your ex-wife? Well, that's my dog. It didn't work out in the relationship, but as far as a business partner, she is superb. We couldn't stand her as a wife, but hey, business partner, she rocks on, let me tell you. So Chanelle, come on, give me what you're feeling like as far as like, how do you feel about co-parenting? Like, how do you feel like, not where we are now, but where we were when we were kids? Because we got married very young.
Okay, so I think we ought to take the people back. Let's take the people way, way, way back. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so actually what happened is I met Chris at church, right? So my mom wanted to be matchmaker and all that old fancy stuff. So I'm like, okay. She was like, hey, this is this great guy that I want you to meet. And I'm like, okay, all right. So we go to church. Shout out to Faith Deliverance. Woo. Anyway, met him at church. And at first, initially, I'm like, okay, he all right. Okay, So I think somehow we end up exchanging numbers.
Before you go there, I got to stop her.
What?
At first, I was going to be like, heck no, because I thought she had 2 kids. I thought she had babies. I'm like, wait, man, she got 2 babies? I don't have no children. Oh, no, I'm not doing this. Later on, I found out that they were her sisters. But prior to that, I was like, nah, man. I told my homeboy, Brian, I nudged him in the shoulder.
Put your phone in the middle.
I'm like, Brian, man, she got 2 kids. I can't do this, B. And he was like, man, it's all right. I'm like, man, that girl got 2 kids. She ain't got 1, she got 2. She got 2 kids, so I don't think I want to do this. And so, lo and behold, found out she didn't have 2 kids. They were her sisters, and so we exchanged numbers. But go ahead, Chanelle.
Okay, so, yeah. All right, so we exchanged numbers, and he had great conversation. If anybody know Chris, they know he has the gift of the gab. So he used to talk, and he sold me a dream is what he did. He told me he was going to the NFL and how he training. Shout out to Phil, because Phil was training them. Phil made the story a little more believable because he used to train them all extra hard. And anyway, so we ended up talking, and that's how it kind of evolved from church. Nevertheless, we started dating. And you know what? If I'm being honest, I saw some red flags then. I saw some red flags then. And, by then you caught up, So it was like, I'm going to say my first infatuation, I'm going to guess. Because you know what? When I really think about it in hindsight, I don't think I ever told you this. I don't think I ever, I know I haven't. So this is a moment of transparency, guys. I don't think I was ever really in love. Like, I was 21. I was in church. So I was really trying to do just the right thing. You know what I'm saying? We had the whole stigma behind us, when you make a baby, you go and get married and do things the right way. So I think I was more so caught up with that because my red flag was actually, I felt like you proposed way too soon. And so I'm like, is this what this? But I'm going with the flow of things or whatnot. So anyway, we get engaged, we get married. No. I gotta back up.
You got pregnant.
I got pregnant.
Yes.
And it was crazy because he was so mad. Oh, I remember. Do you remember how mad you was when we found out you was pregnant? When we found out we was pregnant?
Yes.
So, got pregnant. Did like a little quick wedding. I don't think it wasn't even a
Shotgun
wedding.
wedding.
It was a
shotgun wedding.
It was was that even a shotgun? I don't even know if that was a shotgun. No bang bangs, nothing. It was just like, let's show up. I think my mom was present. Your mom was present, and that was pretty. We didn't really have,
much it.
Yeah. Now, and this was, 20 years ago. So I really grew up with this guy. Like, anyway, we're fast forwarding, but anyway, just giving you just a little history on how we end up coming together. So we got married, and quickly after we got married, because we had some hiccups along the way, even with that. Got married, moved into our own spot, right?
Yep.
Over there off of
61st Street.
61st Street in the high rise over there by Family Dollar and all that. Taking people back who's in Wyandotte. Shout out to Wyandotte. We love y'all, the support and all that. But anyway, so we in the high rise. We got our own spot, living it. So I'm thinking the right way, And I'll never forget this night. Never forget this night. This is when I found out Chris was a cheater. I kind of always had my suspicions, but this is when I officially found out he was a cheater.
Yep.
So, You want to tell a story?
I will.
Okay. Go ahead.
Again, I was young. I mean, I'm not going to really blame it completely on my youth because I knew what I was doing. But I was younger. And like she said before, so since she's being transparent, I think we both are going to be transparent. I don't think either one of us were in love. I believe that we were just trying to do things the right way. When Chanelle got pregnant, like I originally proposed to her to hold her, to keep her, not to marry her right off. But once she got pregnant with Chris Jr., I just wanted to do the right thing. Because sometimes my heart can get the best of me. Sometimes it can be a good thing or a bad thing. My heart gets the best of me sometimes. And so I knew I wanted to do right by her by marrying her and making sure that my son came in this world with his parents being married and not, just like typical coming in the world, dad's over here, mom's over there.
Okay, hold on before you dive into it. For the viewers, if you guys have any questions about co-parenting, let's say you're going through a situation or experience with your baby mom. In fact, we invite anyone who is going through something right now with their baby mom, chime in on the live.
Or baby daddy.
Comment a question, or the baby daddy, you right. Chime in with your questions, anything you want us to elaborate on it, because I can tell you guys, we have been through A through Z with it all, and we just really figured out how to make it work. So anyway, if you watching, chime in. I'll give you my honest answer. He'll give you his honest answer as well. But go ahead, tell the people.
So I'm at the gym working out, and, anybody that know me know that I have a infatuation for light-skinned women. I love all women, but my infatuation is like with light-skinned women for some odd reason. Don't know why, but anyway, saw this beautiful woman.
Now, see, if he had been honest about that, because I'm chocolate. I represent the chocolate women. If he had been honest about that, we probably would have never even got to the point that we got to that night. Go ahead, though.
So anyway, like we said, we're going to give full transparency. So saw this woman, got infatuated with her, started dealing with her. And just, she was older. She was in her 30s. I was only 22 years old. So, of course, I'm smelling myself. I'm feeling myself and feeling myself a little too much. She had my direct line to call me anytime she wanted to. So much so that...
Oh, he lied. That's what it was. He lied and said he was training her, y'all. That's what it was. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
So, yeah.
I ain't mad. I ain't bitter.
No. So, anyway, yeah, I lied. Told her I was training the woman, even though I was working out with her. That was true, but I was doing other stuff as well. So, needless to say, a phone call came in and one night. I was on the couch, on the opposite side of the couch. She was on the other couch. My phone rang. So, of course, I didn't, at this point, I'm cheating, but I don't know how to cheat yet. So, and I know that sounds bad to say, but I didn't know how to cheat yet. So I answered the phone. I literally just answered the phone and was like, hello. And so I think Chanelle knew that it was a woman on the phone because all she kept doing was turning the TV channel the whole time I was on the phone. So I guess she wanted to hear the woman's voice. So, of course, she heard the woman's voice.
Okay, so let's pause. Let me tell you where he went wrong. Okay. The first thing, he answered the phone from a woman that he was cheating with. So he answers the phone. The bravery in that alone speaks. That's how big his ego was. He took the phone call. So I'm scrolling through. I'm like, hold on, something sounding right. So at this time, I'm just pushing the channels, pushing the buttons so to keep trying to find a channel so the volume wouldn't play. And that's how I heard the woman's voice. But he was bold. He was definitely bold.
So anyway, of course, got the phone with her, lied immediately. So when she's like, who was that? I'm like, oh, this is somebody from the gym. I'm training. I'm nothing like that. Finally, down the road, I don't know exactly when she truly found out that it was somebody I was actually dealing with, but she found out.
Oh, I remember. I took your phone. You left your phone or something.
Okay.
And I took your phone.
Okay.
And I read messages.
Okay. So
that's what it was.
That's how she found out.
And that's how your stuff ended up over the balcony, all for the neighbors to see. Yeah. It was a sight, y'all. We gave the people a show, baby.
It was bad. So anyway, we end up, I tried to fix it, but again, I continued to do wrong. So it wasn't like she wasn't doing anything. Because I got to be honest, she wasn't doing anything. I got to be honest as I could possibly can.
I was an angel.
And I wouldn't say all that, but she wasn't doing anything. Now, as we get into this story down the road, you're going to find out that she was not just an angel because we tried with each other for a while. And it was times where I had my stuff together and she was out here playing games. So let's not go there. We're going to talk about that later. I digress. So we're not going to get into that today. We're getting into something else. But I digress. Anyway, but yeah, she wasn't an angel. So, anywho, find out about it. Immediately, she's crushed. My little boy is no more than 1 at this time. And so she's crushed. I'm like, I won't do it again. Came back home, knew I was lying. I did it again. She found out. But this time I moved out into my own place. This is where things get bad. Because a lot of times in relationships, when you're raising children and y'all supposed to be together and this is supposed to be a family, and it's so bad to say, but in the African-American culture, 65%, right? Actually, no, 67% as of 2022, most children are being raised by single mothers, and they're being raised in a single-parent home, opposed to 21.3%, which is like 1 out of 5 for Caucasian Americans. And so with that being said, that just shows, the discrepancy between, who two-parent home versus non-two-parent traditional homes. Traditional homes versus single-parent homes, I'm sorry. And so as I had to leave and try to raise my son outside the home was probably the hardest thing I ever did as a man. Because I can't see him every day anymore. I can't tuck him in. I can't read to him. I can't be there for the structure. The only structure I can give him is on the weekends. That's the only time I was getting to spend with Chris. It was very hard trying to raise him and still trying to control. In a sense, I was still kind of trying to control Chanell, which most men do. We got to be honest. This whole, you can't have nobody around my son, but no man be around my son. He better not have no man around my son. That's trying to still control that woman and her life. Because honestly, you really can't control who's going to be around him when you leave because you gave up the right to be there, which that's what I did.
Okay, so let me interject. So lesson number 1 would definitely be if I was to give any young people, any young ladies, any advice, this is what I would say. During the dating process, let's say before you even have any kids, let's say you have no kids. During the dating stage, pay attention to their actions. Do not get caught up in the words because when you get lost in the words, then comes the feelings and then you're not even thinking rationally because right away you should know, hey, am I even compatible with this person? Because compatibility, that plays a part in a long-lasting and the long-lasting part of a relationship. The longevity, that's what I was trying to say, excuse me. But pay attention to their words and their actions, but their actions, because the guys, let's just give you, they're going to feed you what they want to hear because they got one goal, and that's to, find the jewel, right? Once they find the jewel, it's almost like your value is decreased. So you're no longer their priority. Now it's on to the next. So I would just strongly recommend that you pay attention to their actions as well as your actions, not just their words. Because had I paid attention to his actions, I would have knew early on, hey, this guy is not ready to settle down. And his actions later proved that he wasn't, because then I had a baby. Now the home is split. We're divided. Now I'm trying to figure things out on my own. And I feel like a lot of that could have just been avoided if I had my watchers in tune. I didn't have my watchers in tune, so I was deceived essentially. Yes. So when he goes to start talking about breaking up the home, it starts with us just being careful on who you're dating. Be selective. Don't get caught up in the word play. Don't do that. You have to make sure that their actions are aligned with what they are as a man, their standards. So anyway, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, because she's telling the truth. Because again, I didn't know nothing about life. I was just out here living. You know, you talking about making mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And up until now in my life, where I reached, I would say, the better half of my life is where, you know, I really watch what I do and watch who I do it with, or even watch what I say. And I kind of stay to myself now, only because I think that's just the best way to be. But I digress. Let's stay on topic. So with that being said, moving out and still trying to control her. Even though I had no control, I still wanted to control what was going on in her household. What you're about to hear is saddening to me, because I did it and I had to live through it, but I had to forgive myself for it. One day in particular, I was taking my son home. I came, knocked on the door. She answers. She answers, but she's like, well, no, her stepdad answered. Take that back. He answered the door, let me in. And I knock on the door in her room. She won't open the door. I'm like, what's going on? You got somebody in there? And again, trying to control her. So I'm like, oh, you got somebody in there? Okay, cool. You got somebody in there? I'll be right back. So I take my son. Now, I don't leave my son. I take my son. I give him to my homegirl, Lisa. Shout out to Lisa, because she know the story very
Lisa,
well.
girl,
So I give my son to my homegirl, Lisa. I said, hold on, little Chris. I'll be right back. So I go home. I had a Mac 10. I'll never forget. I had a Mac 10. I went home to get my Mac 10. I came back. I'm like, by the time I get there, whoever in that room, I'm just gonna shoot the whole room up. It don't even matter. This is how silly I was at the time, and just had no filter. Wasn't thinking about nothing but my anger and my jealousy at the time, and my rage, because here I am. I've been cheating all this time now. Now I've been cheating on this woman all this time. She does whatever she does after we're done, and I'm like, I still can't take it. So now here I'm coming back. So I get back. I load the gun. I head up the stairs. She runs. I guess dude's already gone, but she runs and like gets on the floor in the kitchen. And so I point the gun at her while she's in the kitchen on the floor, and I'm like, and I thought about it. I was like, man, what am I doing? And so got scared all of a sudden. Now the fight or flight kicks in. So now I'm running for it. I'm like, oh man, heck no, I ain't trying to go to jail. So I take my gun, I give it to Lisa. I tell Lisa, hold on to my gun, give me back my son, but hold on to my gun, and I'm gonna come back and get it. So Lisa takes the gun, just as crazy as I am. She was when she was younger too, because she's like, this is my homeboy, I'm gonna hold on to his gun. So she held on to the gun.
Hold on, let me just interject, because she was my friend as well. You know, I just think
but she was my friend first.
That made true. I can't wait till she play this back, but she was my friend as well. But I'm just, I think it was the in the moment. Had she thought about it, she probably wouldn't have taken the gun. I'm sure of it. Go ahead.
But anyway, so I finally come to my senses. I get home and I'm like, man, what have I just did? You know, I done put a gun on this girl. I'm like, this is crazy.
JP, he was tripping.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm literally like, I just put a gun on this girl. I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I just do this? And literally sitting at home, now I'm scared. Now I'm like, oh,
okay,
Lord.
so let's take the people back. All right, so here, okay, all right, now listen, I'm in the house, minding my own business, doing me, because as he's already stated, he's out here doing whatever it is that he wanted to do with who, whenever, and I wasn't tripping, you know, live your life, because I knew I was up next. So, anyway, he comes in the house, I see this gun, right? And it was this, I have never seen a gun that big, that size before in my life. Anyway, so I was scared, but I guess like in the moment, I didn't think he was really gonna do anything with it. I'm just like, okay, he's just trying to intimidate me or scare me, not even thinking like the danger of it. Like when you break that stuff down, like the danger of it, like that gun could have went off. You could be behind bars. I could be in a casket. Chris could be without parents. He would have lost me. So I don't know. You were tripping, bro. Now that I really think about that, that was crazy.
I was tripping.
Like for real.
I was tripping.
Like for real. That was crazy.
It was crazy.
So anyway, I'm in the kitchen. I'm crouched up looking. He's going. All I see is rage in his eyes, but I'm not even understanding because I'm like, dude, you doing whatever it is that you want to do, but now you in my spot trying to, so it was crazy. That was a crazy situation.
It was
really
crazy.
Was.
It was crazy, and it was unnecessary because, again, you're talking about a 22-year-old man still trying to find himself, feeling like, the walls are closing in on him. We went, because she didn't say this part, we did go down to Dallas, and I did work out. Things didn't work out, but she went with me to Dallas to try, and it just didn't work out. And again, life goes on, so whatever plans I had for myself, they wasn't working. And I had this little boy looking up to me, and I had to figure out, okay, what's your next move? And so once that happened, I'm living my life, and I'm trying to find my way. And shout out to Phil again, because of Phil, I was able to start finding my way as far as a career. So shout out to Phil Caldwell. I'm pretty sure he'll see this one day and he'll look at this. But shout out to him because he helped me find my niche, which was working with kids. And I just fell in love working with kids, and thank God for that, because I've been 20 years in, and it's kind of sad that it's about to come to an end. But 20 years in working with children, outside everything else I do, but it's about to come to an end. So let me speed on past all that because I just wanted to say that little spiel. So anyway, I get a phone call. This is where I really get upset. But I don't do anything to her. I just get upset because of the situation. Now, I take good care of my son. You about to hear.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? So I take good care of my son. Good care. I've always taken good care of Chris. Never had. Chanelle can tell you, she's sitting right here beside me. Chris has never wanted for anything. And still to this day, he doesn't want for anything.
Okay, so let me tell you what. Let me interject.
Go ahead.
Our agreement was, and this is what we found out that works for us. I cover housing, food, the day-to-day things, right? And then he takes care of clothing, and then like when he's with him, clothes, shoes, things like that. And then when he's around, you cover that. But that was our understanding from get-go, right? And so as, during that time, I was young, so I was really, I think I was paying $46 or something for rent. So, you know what I'm saying? I didn't need a whole lot of money. But anyway, that was the agreement at that time. And that was more than enough. Like, okay, that's fine. I get this. That there's no need for me to ask for more. And this is where I feel, ladies, we have to take accountability here. We like to get them where it hurts. And where can we get him? What can we do to make a man madder than anything? His pockets, right? Yes, his pockets.
So let me finish, because this is where I was going. I get a phone call.
And if you're tuning in, feel free to ask questions. Yeah. If you're going through with your baby mama, your baby daddy, we're here for it, okay?
So I get a phone call from downtown Kansas City, Kansas, and at the clerk's office, was it clerk's office, whatever they call themselves, anyway, about child support. So I'm like, excuse me? And they're like, yeah, Chanelle Pace, well, she was still Galloway at the time. Chanelle Galloway is requesting child support. And I'm not going to say what I said to that woman, but let me tell you, when I got off the phone with that woman, I bet you she knew I wasn't paying no child support, because I let her be known I ain't paying nobody nothing. And so, lo and behold, we working through this whole co-parenting thing. It is not working. And now little Chris is getting older. So now little Chris is 3. And so he can kind of see how to play us a little bit, but not just yet. So he's getting older, and we're getting older, but I'm not maturing. Maybe she was maturing, but I was not maturing yet.
Well, I was always mature.
I wasn't maturing at all.
Say that.
I'm going to be honest.
I was always mature.
I was not maturing. I was really doing the most when it came to her. Still. I was still acting up. I was still acting ugly, still acting up. Because, again, even though we live separate, we continue to try. We continue to try to get back to each other. We continue to try to get back to each other. And so what happened was just fights, unnecessary fights, unnecessary arguments, unnecessary I hate you, I hope something happened to you. You know, all these other things, just unnecessary stuff. You know, I would even go on to say unnecessary touching, you know. Not physically beating, but unnecessary touching her, grabbing her, you know, things that I shouldn't have done. You know, again, young man, not control of his emotions. And to give you my backstory, I was raised without my father. My father died when I was 1. My grandmother raised me. My mother was there, present, but she didn't raise me. My grandmother raised me. So I did have values. My grandmother gave me values, never put your hands on a woman. Again, I chose to do what I wanted to do at that moment. So now she's dealing with not only my disrespect, but my mental and somewhat physical abuse to her, you know, of how I talk to her. Even when little Crystal's around me, how I'm cussing at her, how I'm calling out her name, you know, how I'm treating her. You know, that had a lot to do with the upbringing of him because he's seeing me treat his mother this way. And so now he has to, like, look at me and then look at her. And now he's stuck in a tug of war between both parents, which I see a lot of that now with some of my friends and their children's mother. And I'm kind of going through that with my daughter's mom, but not so much because we don't talk to each other. But I'm older now, so I know how to kind of deal with that. But just seeing how I was mistreating her and how I was affecting Junior, and that there, as I look back on it now, hurts me more than anything because I was very disrespectful. I was very, you know, just...
Yeah, you remember that time you spit on me?
Yep,
he
I remember.
Spit on me. You know,
Yes.
you don't spit on a dog, but I remember he spit on me.
Yes,
You
I
spit
did.
him, and I had braids. He spit in my hair.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot.
But like I said, we're going to be honest. You know, we're going to be honest. Yes, I did. I spit on her. You know, it was just unnecessary stuff. But again, this is our truth. So I can feel fine telling it now because of where we came from. Like I said, this is going to be weeks and weeks of stuff you guys are going to learn about our past. Now, we don't have a problem with sharing our past because we don't live in our past. Our past is our past.
Right, and the reason why we're going back is because we're trying to show people, you know, there's growth, there's light. It don't always have to be, you know, the back and forth, the altercations, the arguing, the bickering, the control, because we're going to dive into the control, ladies. I'm going to speak on my behalf as well, but a lot of these things are because of control. But it got really, really dark. It got really, really dark. It was unhealthy, and little Chris being in the front and center. He had the front row. He had the popcorn. We were doing all of this in front of him. And I think that's the, like you said, that's the tough part that you struggle with.
Yep.
Because I was the victim. You know, here I am trying to figure out and like, where's all this rage? Because he gave you background on how he was raised. And again, ladies, if we open our eyes and pay attention, you can see early on, like, hey, there's some issues here. Is this who I want to father my child? Like, you have to take those things into consideration when you're dating. So I didn't come from any of that. Like, I came from love. I was raised from love. My mother, I love her dearly, raised me to be a woman, carry myself accordingly, and to just represent myself as a woman at all times. And I've always held on to that. However, I didn't have a father. So I didn't have my father, my birth father in my life. He's a coward to this day, but I don't want to go on therapy or anything. But no, it just kind of structured, I guess maybe not structured, but it just kind of, I guess it was maybe the reason why I dealt with what I dealt with, because I didn't know what, love from a man, what that should look like or what that should feel like. So I was kind of just like taking whatever you were giving me, trying to still do right, because the eyes of the Lord, like, you need to be married and you need to work through this and you need to stay, you know. So I found myself being a victim a lot of the times. But again, going back into, we were doing this type of stuff in front of our child. Mm-hmm. And so that's the sad part. And that's the part where you have to have your eyes open. Like, there's an innocent kid looking up at you. Like, is this the example you want to set? Is this what you, and is this the seed that you want to plant? Because those type of things are going to carry on for generations. You know, what you're putting in him, you're molding him. You're telling him what is acceptable behavior, what's not. So he wasn't the best example growing, especially how to treat a lady. Now, as a father, stellar, always have been to a certain degree. But I guess when you think about it in hindsight, when you were doing those type of things, that did make you a good father. You weren't a good father during that time frame.
Nope,
That
I was not,
yeah.
because I was a coward. I wasn't the man that I am now. You know, I wasn't even the man that I was 10 years ago. You know, again, I was 22 years old, but I'm not going to blame it on my youth because, again, you still have a mind. And my grandmother raised me with values. So I knew what to do. I just chose not to do it at that moment because I felt that, look, I'm going to do it my way. This woman ain't going to disrespect me. I'm going to do what I want to do, and she's going to sit here and take it. So I thought. However, at some point in your life, you will get that gut punch. And it would either wake you up or it's going to shake you up. Mine's woke me up.
What was your gut punch?
When I tried to come back, when I was living on 77th Street, and we moved you in, when I was on 77th next to your mom, and I found out you were talking to other men, even though I wasn't doing anything wrong at that moment, you were talking to other men. And I think that hurt me the most because I was really ready to be with you.
Oh, you mean when you was... Oh, okay. Yeah. I get it. Yeah, y'all. So I finally started doing me for real, like out here. I'm out here, you know, and that was a little too much for homeboy. He couldn't handle it. Creeping, knocking on the window, stalking. I'm like, hold on, like you don't get to violate me like that. But again, that's the control. And yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Well, no, before the stalking and all that, we were living together, and then I couldn't take what you were doing anymore. So I was like, hey, you got to go.
Oh, you put me out?
Yes, I put you out. You know I put you out. See what I'm saying? People get
amnesia.
People get on live and people get amnesia and they forget everything. Like really, she want to make sure I'm just the bad guy all the way around the table. But no, it don't work like that because again, yes, I did put her out because one day she came in smelling like cologne. And trying to get in my bed. Yes, she did. She came in smelling like alcohol and cologne. And I was like, dude, you're not getting in bed. I really felt like a woman at that moment because I literally was like, you're not getting in the bed with me. Not like that. You're not getting in my bed smelling like cologne and liquor.
I probably had went out or something.
No, regardless, I don't know what it was. But I know she smelled like cologne and liquor when she came home. And I was like, you're not sleeping in my bed. You're going to get on that couch tonight, but you're not getting in the bed with me. I literally laid in the bed, and I think I even grabbed the pillow. The pillow real tight. You know how women grab the pillow when they hurt? I think I kind of grabbed the pillow real tight. Oh, my lip wasn't shivering. But I did grab the pillow really tight, and I was like really feeling really violated. Like, I can't believe she just came in here smelling like cologne and liquor. And they should lay in my bed? No, you're getting out of my bed. And so then I think the next morning we woke up, we talked. I was like, man, you got to find you somewhere to go. You know, I can't do this. You know, I can't.
Was that before your other son?
No, Christian was already born.
Oh, okay. So we didn't even dive into that.
We're going to get there.
Oh,
we're talking about us right now.
Okay,
we got to talk. We got to stay on topic. The breakup. This is about our breakup.
Go ahead.
We'll get to Christian and all that stuff next episode, but let's talk about the breakup. So, anyway, here comes the other breakup because we got back together. So here comes the other breakup. Of me and her, just I couldn't take it no more. Whatever she was doing. But I wasn't at that moment. I wasn't doing wrong. I'm thankful I wasn't. I was trying to grow and I was trying to save my family because I wanted to really make sure I was present in Christopher's life because I didn't have a father and I wanted to make sure that I was the father I was supposed to be to Chris Jr. no matter what. So it didn't work out that way. She ended up moving to an apartment, and we were still kind of trying to deal, but she moved out, and one day I was like, man, I know she over there doing something. So I went over there and I was listening, I don't know, just listening.
Stalking.
Trying to hear something. Yes, stalking, trying to hear what they had going on or whatever. just silly, just young and stupid. And so lo and behold, she ended up moving back in. I ended up giving her apartment to my cousin. He took over the lease and she moved back in with me. Still trying to work, still trying to get it fixed, still trying to make it happen. And we just couldn't do it.
Feel free to ask your questions. Going through with your baby mama, your baby daddy, ask your questions. We're here for it, okay?
We just couldn't do it. We just could not do it. It just was not working out for us. It was just like, no matter what we tried, if she was right, I was wrong. If
So
I
you
was
know
wrong,
what I'm getting from
she
what
was
you're
right.
saying?
Mhm.
At some point, you have to know when enough is enough.
Yeah.
Like, how long are we going to allow the toxic behavior?
Exactly.
When are we going to say, you know what? Yeah, it's time, because again, we're doing this in front of our son. How long are we going to put him through this? So coming up with the understanding, the mutual understanding, like, hey, it's time for us to go our separate ways. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it took us a good while. And like she kind of shared about Christian, but we'll get into that. I don't know what we're gonna call the episode next week, but we'll get into that. We'll dive into that next week because it is definitely something that we got to dive into because these are topics that people don't typically touch in the community. They kind of stay away from. Like I always felt.
Miss Freeman is thanking us for being
That's Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Freeman.
Yeah. Oh, that's Mr. Freeman.
Sorry.
And so
you're welcome.
I would say, looking at everything now, and in hindsight being what it is, we wasn't ready for what we thought we were ready for because we were children. We were playing adults. A lot of what you find out is that when you get in a relationship like this and you're married and you have a child and you're not preparing yourself correctly, you're just doing everything that you thought was right, it hurts everybody in the end because it hurt her, it hurt me, and it hurt our son. I continued to fall flat a lot. And you'll hear about this as we go into this journey. As we continue to grow and go into the journey, you'll find out that I continued to fall flat. It took a lot to become the man that I am. And I'm still growing and I'm still learning. Now, I'm a whole lot better than I ever been in my life, but it took a lot to get to this point. And it took a lot of struggles to be here. And it took a lot of struggles to even start this podcast because do I want to share everybody my personal business? Because everybody get to see, they see this Chris, but they don't know that Chris. But then am I being honest with myself if I don't show them the old me versus who I am now? So I knew that this day was going to come. We had already talked about doing it a while back. We just never jumped on it. But now we're seizing the moment to talk about, co-parenting and what it looks like. So to go back into the co-parenting piece, we continued to try our best when it came to Chris. I will give her and me that. We worked together as much as we could without fighting in the beginning when it came to Chris. School he was going to go to, what was going to happen, how we were going to do things. When he played sports, how we were going to react towards one another. So we had those kind of conversations, but we still hated each other. I'll be honest, we still hated each other. It was no friendship here. Wasn't this right here. Back in the day, we couldn't be this close to each other. She couldn't stand the side of me. I couldn't stand the side of her. It was.
I think I even threw up once.
I mean, probably. I don't know.
I'm sure I threw up a couple times.
Possibly. I don't know. But,
it made me nauseous.
So it's one of the things now where we're able to laugh at it. Now we can laugh at our pain. Laugh at my pain like Kevin Hart. We can truly laugh at our pain. Of all the things that I've heard and things that you guys heard her say today and things you heard me say today, even about the gun and the spitting and just all the unnecessary things that should have never happened in the first place. But it happened because I think it had to shape us to be where we are today. Because had we not been through all these different things, I don't think we could sit here right now today and be business partners and grow wealth with each other for our children. I don't think it would be a possible thing because the struggles of co-parenting is very hard, especially when you're not working together. Because it's like taking two pieces of sandpaper and putting them on the side of the sandpaper and rubbing them together. It's just not gonna ever come smooth.
Well,
it's gonna be rough the whole time.
This is the thing that I'm learning. And this is the thing that I think we learned together. You have to relinquish control. Yeah. See, one party wants to say, oh, this is what can happen. No, my word trumps your word. You have to let that go because it's not about you. And you know what? I think that I shared this on the first time we tried. We attempted to do this podcast a while back, and it was very unsuccessful. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I remember most that stood out, his grandmother it was either his grandmother or his mother told us, if y'all don't stop arguing over this baby, the Lord will take him from both of you. And those words resonated in my spirit so much because here we are arguing and bickering over things that don't even really matter because, again, it was over control. I didn't want him to have the final say so. Are you going to do it the way I tell you to do it? And no, he can't go here. And no, he can't go there. And no, she better not be, when you let all that stuff go, the sky's the limit. When you let all that stuff go, you can work well together. You can coexist. It don't have to be any bad feelings, nothing. It just goes smoother when you relinquish control. That's all it is. It is control, people. Stop trying to control the narrative and just let it happen organically.
She's right. A lot of it was control. A lot of it was trying to control her, trying to control the situation, trying to dominate the situation. And so most men can't dominate with their words, so they try to dominate with fear, or they try to dominate with their strength, because a woman going to dominate you with words. There's nothing you can do about that. She'll eat you up with words. So a lot of men can't handle the words, and so they result to putting their hands on them or, whatever, because the words cut like a knife. Everybody know that. The words are sharp like a knife, and they can cut you up quick. And so over time, we just had to come out of that. And now, we can look upon what's happening in our lives, and we wanted to just share how we grew to this point. You're going to find out over time that, definitely selflessness, you're going to find out over time that I lost a lot of girlfriends. I lost girlfriends I was dating that could have really been successful relationships because they wanted me to relinquish my friendship with Chanelle. They didn't understand the dynamics of our friendship. I don't think she's ever faced losing someone in her life because of me, because of our friendship, but I definitely lost women that I could have just considered high value women at the time and lost them because I was not going to do Chanelle wrong based off the fact of their insecurities. I just was not going to do her wrong because of their insecurities. That just was not going to happen. You're going to find out about my youngest son. You're going to find out how that happened. We're going to dive into that next week. But right now, we just want to talk about the breakup and how it affected her, how it affected me, and how it affected our son. Now, down the line, you're going to find out some more things about me that you may not like. Because, again, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can be. So you're going to find out things. You're going to hear things that shaped me into the man that I am. So I'm not afraid to talk about them because had I not went through those things, I wouldn't be the man that I am today. So I'll take those things. Well, I wish I didn't have to, but I'll take them now based off the fact that it made me who I am today. So I'm okay with that. So what I want to tell you guys is that I hope that this podcast becomes something because we're going to be really diving into some real interesting topics. And we're also going to be sharing our story as well. We're going to make sure that this is just the first of many, we hope, as we grow this podcast into something bigger than what we can ever explain. I hope the Lord really opens the door and really lets this podcast become something because co-parenting is a very, very touchy subject and it's a very hard subject because it's tough to try to coexist with someone after y'all done had a relationship, it didn't work out, and now I have children y'all have to raise, and now y'all have this struggle between both of y'all of, like she said, control. Who's going to control what, who's going to do what, and how are we going to control this thing? And once you find out you have no control, the relationship becomes so much easier because you're going to find out that once me and her went to court and started fighting over Chris.
He tried to take my son from me, y'all.
Why are you giving him so much so soon? We're going to talk about it. They gonna hear about that. They going to hear about all of it. It's all going to come out, Chanelle. Everything going to come out. I'm going to share everything.
He was a mess.
We're going to talk about all that down the road. But again, once we went to court, you see a shift in both of us. And once that shift happened, we've been like this ever since. And I'm talking, this happened when Chris was still in grade school. So once the shift happened, we've had our little run-ins with each other every now and again, but never to a point where we're going to hurt each other or disrespect each other. We just have our little words on the phone. And I can hear, and she can't even hear my voice. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get off the phone with you. I'm done talking today. We talk about it tomorrow. Hang up. Same thing with her, because I can kind of hear where it's going when it's gonna go bad. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow. We can wrap tomorrow. hang up the phone. Same with me. Same with her. She
Yeah,
can hear-
respecting the boundaries.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
comes a lot. I mean, there's so much. There's so many layers that you got to peel back. There's so many situations that you probably just got to go through and experience because, like he's saying, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy journey. But he's right. Now we are. It's kind of weird though when you think about it because we are like best friends. But I also consider him family. So it can happen. It can happen. You just have to be willing.
Yep.
Definitely have to be willing.
Got to be willing, and it's gonna take some. People will never understand our relationship. I recognized that a long time ago. People will never understand the dynamics of our relationship. But I'm friends with her son's father. You know, I'm friendly with him. He can come up and talk to me anytime. We have conversations. We're adults, so we can have adult conversations without having, you know, just a pissing contest. We're grown men. You know, let's talk about it. You know, we can have a conversation. We can talk about whatever. Because I wanted him to be secure in his relationship to know that I did not want his woman. And that ship had sailed for us. But what we're doing now is different.
That's another topic too, though.
Yeah, it's definitely another topic because we're going to talk about that. But just being able to transform your mind and have a renewed feeling about a person that at one point in your life you probably despised them or you could have even hated them. So I would definitely say if anybody's listening that is dealing with any of the same issues we dealt with or are dealing with, we are here. We don't have all the answers, but we have the answers to some of these questions because, again, you're going to hear some things later in these episodes about me and her that is going to be like, whoa, man, he was the devil. Because in a sense, I was. I wasn't serving God the right way. I was following Chris's rules. And like she said, very arrogant, very, you know, just, I wasn't a narcissist. I've never been a narcissist, but I've been very arrogant. I've been very, very arrogant. And I've very conceited. Felt like, you know, I was God's gift to a woman. And, you know, just unnecessary things.
You're right. It is all about growth.
Yeah. And so I appreciate that father figure. Absolutely. You're right. And so to be where we are now and to see the growth in both of us and to see where we're going in life, like I always tell her, you know, before we even got on this journey of business, I said, we do this business thing together, I'm going to make you a millionaire. And I knew what I was doing because I had the vision. And so the fact that God has let us manifest to where we are, to be in the position to open two businesses together and to see them both be lucrative and to have a story behind us that we don't mind sharing is the most important thing I think that can impact this community, not more than just having the stores and having a business, but to be able to talk about real life issues and struggles and to persevere and to conquer those struggles and become above them is something totally different than I've ever thought I would ever see. And to be as close to her as I am now is dope. It's dope to me because, like, this is my dog. Like, you can't say nothing bad about Chanelle. I won't let you because this is my dog.
And then even more than that, once we got on, and this is something that we'll dive more into, but even by us becoming friends and letting, like, the bitterness go, like, Chris developed, our son, he blossomed. Our son, he just developed more. You know, he just his whole personality, his whole just everything about him was his growth represented our growth, if that makes sense, if you understand what I'm saying. So we saw the benefit in that, and once we start seeing the benefit of that, it just gave us the I don't know, the encouragement, I guess, I don't know, to keep going to see what this thing could do. Because now our child is 20 years old. He'll be 20 coming up soon.
Next week.
And so I don't know, guys. We just can't wait to get into it. There's so many levels, so many pages to peel back. But we're excited to use this platform. Also making you guys aware of, like, the business aspect of it.
Thanks, Brandon. Love you, bro.
You know, how we're working together. We have the restaurant, we have the smoothie bar. So there's definitely great things that came about from it. Everything wasn't bad, But again, we wanted to let you guys know that we are here to answer questions, scenarios. If you got something that you're going through, we can give you our honest feedback on how we think that you should handle it because it worked for us. And that's one thing I don't do. If I'm fair, because ladies, not my all my answers are not favorable for you. You know what I'm saying? There's certain times where I'm going to object to how you probably should handle that. But we're here for it again, and thank you guys for just tuning in and looking forward to you guys following us so that you can maybe this can impact your family, your household, your and the crazy part is, and Chris kind of dove into this early on when he was like, the narrative is that when you become an ex that you have to hate each other and you can't work together, and it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't. It's a good thing.
No, she's right. It doesn't. Like I said, when we dive into more things, like we're not doctors, we don't have all the answers. All we can do is say, hey, this is what happened. This is what worked for us. It may not work for everybody. This is not common, so it may not work for everybody.
So to some people, it seems weird. Like, ooh, y'all weird. Ooh, y'all must be in a relationship. Ooh, y'all must be doing something on the side. No, not at all.
Nope.
Nothing. And I take pride in being able to say that.
Man,
nothing, straight business. But you know what? When I need something, he's there. If he needs something, I'm there. And then most importantly, if our son needs something,
we're there.
We are there to try to figure it out. And that's exactly what we do. And we just want to show you guys it can be done.
And it's just so much more that we want to share. And before we go though, we want to thank, even though we are the sole proprietors of C's, we want to thank C's letting us be here inside the building to shoot the podcast every Tuesday. But also we want to thank our customers that come into C's, because without you guys, there would not be any C's. So we want to thank the whole Wyandotte County for always showing up and showing out for C's, since we put it right here in Wyandotte County, the first Black-owned smoothie bar in Wyandotte County. And we wanted to make sure that we let you guys know we're thankful, because we also recognize that we're not the owners of this business. We are just the gatekeepers. The owners are the customers. Y'all come in, y'all own this store. And we want to thank you guys for the 5 stars that y'all have given us. Over 60 reviews? Mm-hmm. Over 60 reviews, and we're still sitting at a 5-star rating. And we want to continue to keep that 5-star rating even when we go into the big fish, because the big fish is going to be phenomenal. It is going to be something that you guys have never seen before. We are putting a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this business. And, we're just looking forward to serving our community for years and years to come. And we just want to say thank you to Wyandotte County, and thank you to everybody that's going to tune into the podcast as we continue to grow this podcast and everything else that we do. We want to say thank you to Chase for coming out and, setting everything up with the podcast, because he's one of he's on our marketing team. And so we're going to be doing a lot of marketing, a lot of things that we're going to be doing around here is going to be through Chase and Ray and, all the other guys that are part of the team. So shout out to everybody that's a part of the group. Got anything to say before we go?
Yes, we are introducing additional items. You can get your meal preps to go. Ladies, I know after you hit the gym, you don't want to go and cook a long meal. You can come in and get you a prepaid meal, cold pressed juices, wellness shots. We are introducing a lot of things to change the narrative. Black women work out. We get fit. We get healthy. So Wyandotte County, come on in. Support us. We need your support as well in order for us to keep the doors open. Prices are definitely reasonable, but we love you, Wyandotte County, and let's get into it. Let's do this thing. Health is best. So
health is wealth. Health is wealth.
Yeah.
As she said, we do have, and then we also have a new product that we're going to be pushing here real soon. It's called Eve. We just got it today. It's different than the cold pressed juice. Tastes great, but it's good for you. So be looking out on that. Also, the sea moss, Drink the Shrink is coming soon as well. Don't forget about the Drink the Shrink. And we have it I know people are charging astronomical prices. We're not doing that. Everything we have here is custom for Wyandotte County, because we recognize that not only is Wyandotte County the poorest county in Kansas, but we also are the highest taxed county in Kansas, and that's not good. So how we price our food, how we price our products is based off our demographic, because we know that our demographic does not have the funds to pay certain prices. So we want to make sure that everything stays right around freight, because we want to make sure that we can put a smoothie in everyone's hand. We want to make sure we can put a drink in everyone's hand, and we want to make sure we can put a meal in everyone's hand. because you guys deserve to eat healthy, clean, delicious food. So we thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and we pray that you guys will tune in next Tuesday when we talk about outside children. Yeah, we're going to talk about outside children. In closing, I want to say thank you. Again, shout out to C's.
See, sensational smoothie, baby. Come get you a smoothie. Come get you a smoothie.
Absolutely. Signing off. Love you guys.
All right.
Peace and love.